So I've been asked to explain some of my own musical experiences and how I bring that to the recording process. I always say I'm an equal opportunity listener. There's ooh, squeaky chair. I've been asked to explain some of my musical influences and how I incorporate those into the recording process. And I always say I'm an equal opportunity listener, if you will. I like pretty much all genres of music, with a couple of exceptions. I find value in a lot of different genres, and frankly, some of them are just a distraction from being really, really deep into the classical music world, which I can't listen to passively because of my profession and my nature. Classical music isn't background music or going to sleep music. It's pretty active listening, and there's a lot of brain work going on as I'm listening to a recording, whether it be listening to the technical side of things or the musical side. So right now, I would say what I'm listening to most when I'm not listening to classical music is sort of in the bluegrass, newgrass sort of genre. It sort of started with Nickel Creek long before Chris Thile, who's an amazing virtuoso, long before he was famous, but back in the early 2000s, I came across one of their first records, expertly recorded, one of the best acoustic recordings I think I've ever heard, frankly. And the playing, of course, is fantastic. Chris is a real virtuoso, and it's always great fun to hear him play, now with his new band, the Punch Brothers. I'm not averse to pop music. A great pop song is hard to beat. You have to sprinkle in some rock music here and there for sure. On a summer afternoon with the windows down, AC/DC, you have to play it, right? And I think that there's some real brilliance actually in hip hop music. I pre-ordered my Eminem record before it came out. The rhythms contained in those records and those beats are fascinating, and there's some real interesting things there to figure out how those rhythms drive music forward and create tension and release. In classical music, we think of tension and release so much as harmony and pitches that create those chords, and secondarily rhythm. But I think in hip-hop music, it's rhythm that actually creates those tensions and releases. And there's a lot of interesting things there. How do I bring those into sessions? Probably there's nothing direct. I'm not ever going to say to the Brentano Quartet, I think you should use the beat that Eminem used in track 3 of his latest record as you play that passage. But I think the subtle influences are that music needs to be dynamic, take chances. The classical music doesn't have to be staid. It can be aggressive. Just recently, Robert Mann of the Juilliard Quartet, of course, gave the honorary doctorate address here at the Cleveland Institute of Music. And one of the things that he always spoke of was that beauty in music is important when there needs to be beauty in the music. But when there needs to be drama or angst or any of those other sorts of emotions, it needs to be there also. So I think that a lot of the other music teaches us that music doesn't always have to be beautiful. It can be aggressive. It can be sad. It can be quiet. And it's important that in the classical world that we use those influences and we incorporate those into classical music playing. I think that's what will make the performances more relevant to today's audiences.